Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. For this episode, we're doing an old artworks and sketchbook tour. I've been wanting to do this for a while now since I'm trying to decide which direction to take my art next. These will cover artworks and sketchbooks from 2014 to 2023 since I don't have access to all my older stuff. They're at our old house. This was one of the very first sketchbooks I got. So obviously I still had no clue how to draw portraits or faces. And I'm still learning today. So these were like some of the few that I started with. I remember experimenting with a lot of mediums. This was in watercolor, obviously pen and ink, and then I think this was markers, and then watercolors and ink washes, very random stuff. And yeah, I never finished this anyway. Then I tried doing more portraits. Yeah, that's not very good. And then this I never finished, but this was kind of a breakthrough for me. This drawing, this painting, this was in watercolors, and I remember making this on vacation at my sister's house in La Union. And I remember finishing this and thinking, wow, I could actually do something like this if I tried very hard. And I just remember being so proud of it when I finished it. Anyway, yeah, I still kind of like this, kind of, in a very weird way. So yeah, and then I tried more watercolors and experimenting. Obviously I got very bad paper, so the results weren't so good. I still had no clue which papers were best to use and which weren't for a particular medium, but I just went ahead and gave it a shot. And I think that's the one. And then these are a little more experimental. I found this illustration board, cold press illustration board, and I wanted to try it out. This was mixed medium, I think. This was watercolors and then colored pencils, and then I never finished the frog. This was Copic markers. This was a mixture of everything, metallic pen, I think, or a fine tech gold paint, and then inks and watercolors. I never finished this, and some random stuff. And then this was I think this is graphite, yeah, but I sprayed it with fixative. So I really like this snake part, because I remember doing this and it was so tedious. Anyway, but yeah. And then this was the updated version of the other drawing, this one. This is Copic markers, I'm pretty sure, and then this is graphite, I think. This is watercolor on Bristol board, which is not a good combination, but yeah, I remember liking this concept still, and I still kind of like it. I might redo something like this in the future. And then this was one of the portraits that I made in pencils that I really liked. I remember being very proud of this when it first came out, when I first made it rather. And yeah, I still kind of like her hair. Everything else, I know everything is a bit off. So yeah, this is like the first few artworks, 2014. Let's move on to 2015, 2016. These are my sketchbooks from like 2015, 2016, around that time. Some of these overlap because I usually just open up a sketchbook, start on it, and then I just forget about it, you know, like most people. So most of these are empty, as you can see, but I do have a few pieces here that I think help with the timeline, so I'm going to show it to you. So this is let's start with this one. So this is 20, a few like pages on here have artwork. So this one I did, let's see, in 2014, and then this one too. I remember experimenting, getting my first set of Prismacolors during this time, and so I was eager to try it out. So from that to this one, this was much later. And then I also experimented with pen. I think this was ballpoint pen or fine liners, I'm not sure. And then more gold. And then I tried studying facial anatomy and muscles, but of course I never finished it. I think I ran out of patience doing the muscles. And this was also, this is experimental. This is oil pastel. This was inks and colored pencils. This is chalk pastel or soft pastels, I think. This is in 2016 though, so much later. And this is the most recent one in 2021. That's it. I don't think, yeah, I have to finish this sketchbook. Anyway, let's move to the other one. So this is the gray version. This is new. Oh, here. I don't know why I started this sketchbook in the middle, but okay. So this is 2015. This is pen and inks. No, ballpoint pen, which is a big pen. And then I added like white highlights. I still kind of like this one. That's another one. I did these ballpoint pen studies because I thought, you know, I was gonna simplify my materials, but then really that never worked out. This one, this one, this one. I remember liking this one. And then it got weirder. And I never finished this. I remember really liking this one. This is all ballpoint pen as well. And yeah, I might turn that into a sticker shirt. That's kind of still looking okay. This, I remember being very proud of this as well when I finished it. This is colored pencils and ballpoint pen. This is blue, red pen, like a regular big pen. And paint, I think. Some more experiments. I really liked giving tattoos on some of the girls before. This is very random. And stuff. And I think that's it. Just random stuff. Oh, I like this one too. I like the simplicity of her. And yeah, that's it. So these are it for these two sketchbooks. Let's move on to something from 2016 as well. Okay, so this is still around 2015 to 2016. I can always tell when it's an old piece of artwork because I would pick these large sketchbooks, these student grade sketchbooks, and I wouldn't know any better. I would just see that, you know, it said watercolor, and I'd be like, oh, it's fine. It's gonna work out for the medium I'm gonna try. So yeah, I have a few drawings on here, so let's check it out. This one, let's see, that one. This was in watercolors and pen and ink. I remember really liking this plant. I forgot what it's called, but I really love the small tree branches. There's not a lot on here, so it just look like random doodles. I was trying to get into figure study, but yeah, those are really bad. And then I remember I started creating these portraits, these ink portraits. This was the start of several that I made, but I'll show it in much later in some of the other drawings, or sketchbooks rather. Sorry about that. There you go. I don't think it fits. Anyway, so yeah, I remember really digging. Like, I made this to be like a poster or a t-shirt design. I might actually print this on a t-shirt because for Halloween, I think it's cute. So I think that's it for this sketchbook. Oh, and there's another one. Some of the creepy stuff that I made. This is colored pencils. I was also testing out colored pencils. This was my first time using Bristol paper. And I really like this color. This is my favorite color, actually. Forgot there's this one other piece here. This is in watercolors. I think this is the only watercolor painting I made in this sketchbook. I still didn't know how to create super darks with watercolors. I was still afraid of the pigment, of using a lot of pigment rather. So yeah, she looks very light. So we're entering 2016. 2016 was a very productive year for me, for my art. I think it was one of those times where I just created a bunch of stuff and experimented with a lot of materials, and it really helped me to grow and learn a lot. So I'm going to show you very random stuff. Most of these are loose paper because I never really kept a single sketchbook. As you can probably tell, like I always prefer like doing stuff on loose sheets of paper. This was in watercolor, and I remember doing this when I was still traveling somewhere, and I thought it'd be nice. This Eggs Benedict. And then this was meant to be a postcard, for like a Christmas postcard. I still kind of like it. I think it's cute. And then this one too. This is in pencil. I was trying to see whether I would like drawing very detailed stuff in pencil, and I did enjoy it. I mean, I still think it looks okay. And these are calligraphy stuff that I did because calligraphy was big during that time, and I was like, oh, I should give it a try. And I found this old postcard book, and then I tore the pages, and I pretty much tried to do the lettering and calligraphy on it. And this one, this. I think I only made 4. I don't know where the rest went. And these, I was into Ghibli stuff, and I never finished this. This is supposed to be this Mononoke. And then this is from Spirited Away. This is from 2015, 2016. And then this one too. So as mentioned before, I was really productive during 2016, and this was also the time when I got into inks, watercolors, gouache, and acrylics, just testing them out. So here's a few of the drawings. Most of these are ripped out from my sketchbook. So let's start with this. This set of drawings actually came with a story, like individual stories with them, and I had made these as illustrations for the stories, just random stories I made up. This one's a horror story about room 438. I really like this one still. This is another one. This one too. Can you tell I like doing braids? And then this one. This is Mushroom Girl. This was also in 2016. This is a mix of watercolors and colored pencils, I think. I was getting into portraits by this time as well, so you know, I did a lot of faces and studies. And this one, this was a mix of inks, pen, and graphite too. I still kind of like this. This was the colored version of the black and white drawing that I'll show you later on. So there's that. And then I also have this sketchbook. I got into inks by this time and watercolor, so I actually finished this one, I think. So there's a lot of portraits on this one. There. And this one. Oh, it's falling apart. It's okay. I don't know what I was thinking with this one, but okay. It seems to be oranges with waves. Drawings. I remember liking this idea before, but I couldn't capture it properly, like getting the shadows of the lace on her face. And that's it. So yeah, it's that one. And a few random stuff for during this time. Some graphite, inks, not finished. And then inks with screen tone. I started experimenting with screen tone by this time too. For this one, this was a special project that my friend and I made or collaborated together. The idea was to create a book of sorts, but it never really came into fruition. Although I remember being very excited about working on this project. This is an old like insurance policy folder that I found, so let's start with this. Okay, here we go. The project was called Braided. One of my friends would take she was really into braiding her hair and styling it, and I offered to like do illustrations based on her images, and then we can create like a little book about basically braids. So these are the original drawings that I made for it. These are all in inks. And this one, I really like this one. By this time I was really obsessed with braids too, so it was nice and challenging to actually be able to illustrate braided hair. This is very Junji Ito. These are random like letter forms for the covers, and then more random pieces. This is not part of it. See, I printed prints during this time, so, and I'll show you the actual mock-up of the book. Ta-da! It looked like this. This is very old, so I got this done in 2016, 2017. My only beef with this is that it wouldn't lie flat, so. And it's done. So yeah. Okay, so we're still at 2016. By October of that year, I wanted to participate in Inktober, and so I created some of the drawings here on the sketchbook, but this is like a mix really. Some of these are just studies, really bad studies, And then just very, very random studies and drawings. I actually like that one still. I remember this bed. This used to be my grandmother's old bed. Hands and feet. I used to be better at doing hands and feet. Now I can't even do them properly. There was a period of my life when I actually stopped drawing, so I had to relearn everything. Anyway, this was in 2016. Oh, at the start of the year. Oh yeah, Inktober. Because I wanted to participate in Inktober, kind of, but I wanted to do it my way. So I made this one. 2016. I still like a few of the pieces here. I mixed watercolor with inks. This was my favorite. This is still kind of my favorite way of drawing and painting. I still love how this one turned out. My favorite serial killer. My other favorite serial killer. My favorite sociopath. This was really bad. My favorite anime character. My other favorite anime character. And then this was supposed to be Major from Ghost in the Shell. And then female Ranma, I think. Sai. And the female Titan. When did this come out? I think this was much later though. I never finished inking Ryuk, so. And a bunch of horror stuff. Bram Stoker. I forgot his name. And that's it, I think. Yeah. I'm planning on doing an Inktober this year, but I'm still trying to decide what the topic is going to be or what the subjects I want to actually do. So we'll see. I really like how this one turned out. And this one too. So this sketchbook, I'm honestly not sure when I did the drawings on this one. All I can remember is that I purchased this particular sketchbook in Japan during my trip in 2016 or 2015. I really can't remember. And so yeah, I did a few drawings on here, and I'm just really not sure. I didn't date them either, so I have no clue. Let me hang on, you guys. All right. So yeah, again, this was my favorite way of mixing, of doing illustrations. Basically watercolors and then adding inks on top. Then of course I would experiment with other. Once I do something and then I always want to switch it up and do something else just to see if I could do it or replicate the same style in a different medium. But I always end up doing a very different style depending on the medium I'm using. So this one's in pencil. This one's inks and watercolor. This was really bad. This was really bad. I don't know what I was thinking. And then this was, I think, much later. I was trying to experiment with a very loose watercolor landscape because I got into watercolors by this time, like doing landscapes in watercolors, but I was never really good at it. And just random stuff, random little scenes, and that's it. I never finished this. Yeah, I didn't finish it. I should finish it. Okay, so the next few illustrations or drawings will be very random. They're between 2016 to 2017. Some of them are in sketchbooks, others are in basically random sheets of paper. So, or like paper pads that I bought that I really like and I would tear it. As mentioned, I did stop for a few months, sometimes over a year, of drawing and painting and stuff like that because I would work or I would travel or I simply would just not have time to draw or feel like drawing. So some of these are hit and miss. This one I never finished. I don't even know what that's supposed to be. I think that's supposed to be like a weird cat hybrid or something. This is an illustration for a story, but I didn't like how the colors turned out. I still like the concept. I think this was the Frog Prince. Remember her, the princess, well, the frog retrieving the princess's ball, and then, you know, I kind of like the concept, but I don't think I executed this properly. This one was in 2016, and wait, was it 2016, 2017? This was after my trip to Japan. So urban sketching was quite big during this time, so I thought I'd give it a try. Not this one, this was an old piece. And I wanted to be a little bit more loose with my drawings. And this was me trying to capture my trip in Japan. This was my first solo trip ever overseas. And yeah, I went to Tokyo and then Kyoto. I remember this was in Shibuya Park, I think. So yeah, you can definitely see the urban sketching influence on here. This is in 2017. And there's something about urban sketching that just makes me really excited about working because it seems like such a fast way of capturing the mood and stuff, especially for landscapes. I remember sitting at this park, this is my bag, and just taking the view. Like it was really a lifelong dream to reach Japan at that time, and I've been there now for like 4 or 5 times, twice this year, so I can't wait to go back. Hopefully I can live there by next year. We'll see. Okay, so these next 2 folios contain works from 2016, 2017, 2018. I was really into portraits during this period, so I made a lot of portraits and a few watercolor drawings and paintings. Let's start with this one, I believe. Okay, let's move this out of the way. These are Khadi paper. They're basically t-shirt rag paper from India. A local shop started selling them, and I really wanted to test them out. So I bought these big A3 sizes, which are amazing for watercolors, and I still love them to this day. It's just that they're very difficult to find nowadays. I remember liking birds, drawing birds at that time. So, and experimental portraits. This was acrylics, I think, and then inks. I never finished her. And then more inks and watercolors. This was one of the first where I actually tried using a very light watercolor wash, and I was really happy with this, like with how I got her skin so even, her nose and stuff like that. And I don't know, I always seem to forget how to use watercolors the next time, so yeah, I like that one. And this girl and her, this one I like her hair though. And this is very experimental. And that's it. I never finished the 2. Oh, there's another one that I never finished. And then let's go with, this is also on Khadi paper, but the square version. This is 2016, 2017. This is also a series of portraits using inks and watercolors. Let's see. This first one rather, was done in 2016 during Christmas. And so the early part of 2017, I made a few more. I was really obsessed with this paper for a long time, and I still really, really like it. I love how the way it absorbs watercolor and inks, basically. It's just beautiful, and it's very thick. There we go. I still really like this one. I really like this one for some weird reason. It reminds me of like an old vinyl or record cover from like the 80s or 60s by like a prog rock band or something. This one I never finished. It's supposed to have like inks on it. I don't know why I never finished this. And this was one of my favorites. I still really like this drawing until now. That one. And let's see. Here. This, oh, okay. I still have. This was on we're moving to 2018 by now. Okay, so I've been yapping for a full 20 minutes and then I realized I did not push the record button, so let's try this again. So this was done in 2017, 2018, most of it 2018. I remember getting into buying acrylic paper, Arto acrylic paper. I finished an entire stack of it, I think 20 pieces. This was one of the studies that I made, a little bit more experimental as well with these drawings. And this was a scene from a photograph I took in Japan. I was in Kyoto way back in 2015. I actually went back to this spot just this year, so it was really nice. This was gone. There's a full stairs by the side now. A lot more studies. I incorporated acrylics. By this time I was also experimenting with acrylics. This is gouache, one of my first gouache paintings ever. I remember getting very, very confused on how to use it. So this turned out too light. There's no values at all. And I would get frustrated and I'd resort back to the watercolor and inks combo because I was so familiar with it. This one too. This is watercolor on inks. This one I kind of like. For the hands were too big, but I like the overall look of it. I really wanted to make posters before, like music posters for some of my favorite bands. This one, I like how her hair turned out. This was one of my first acrylic paintings. I remember finishing this and I hated it at that time. So I added all these streaks and I absolutely hated it. But for some reason, when I look at it now, it's actually one of my favorites, which is very odd. But yeah, I guess, tastes change over time. This one's a mix of watercolor and acrylics. This was actually one of my first ever oil paintings. I experimented with oils. And I saw an old painting. I know this is a copy of a painting somewhere, and I really loved how it looked. Like it was in this alla prima style, so I wanted to mimic it. But obviously, I didn't draw this in. I just painted it. I didn't do an underdrawing or anything like that, which I should have, because obviously that hand is odd, but I really like this. Like, I like the freshness of it. This was not on Arto paper. This is on Saunders Waterford paper. I was testing it out with watercolors to see how the colors would come out. And as you can see, it's quite vibrant. But then I think I messed this up and I added inks on top of it to salvage it. And the last one I made, not the last one, but the last experimental stuff that I did on this paper was this one. This is charcoal. Yeah, it's definitely charcoal. And I wanted to test it out to see if this paper would be able to take it. And it did quite well, actually. I still wish I could get my hands on this paper. It's just very difficult to find. Okay, so we're still at the 2017-2018 era. So these are going to be a bit of a random jumble, so bear with me. They might overlap. This was in 2018, I think, and I remember doing a digital version of this one. This was supposed to be an illustration. That's why it looks for a book or something. Here's another one. I was really into Edgar Allan Poe. I think I still have a video of me doing this drawing. I'll have to find it. And another random piece. And this is in 2018. This is part of a series of portraits and inks that I'll show you a little later on because it's in my other folio. But yeah. And a few of the ones in my sketchbooks. This is unfinished. Obviously it says Floral Studies. This is unfinished. I'm still planning on continuing this, but I started this in 2017. These are all floral gouache studies, except for this one, obviously. Here we go. I got into gouache and I wanted to do like quick 10-minute studies. They range from about 15 to 20 minutes. I just really wanted to get something done as fast as I could. And it was also good practice to do loose sketches, basically. I really like how these turned out. Although I'm terrible at actually doing loose sketches. So this was quite a revelation for me, like forcing myself to just use like one stroke for the leaf, and the flowers are like little dabs and stuff. Yeah. I like drawing flowers. And then it got really weird. Oh wait, there's another one. Oh, let's see. And yeah, this was the last one, I think, that I made for the sketchbook. And then I started adding eyeballs to the flowers. I don't know if you can see that. So I have to finish this later on. And finally, this is also like mostly empty, but I did do a few drawings on here. This is on graphite and on gouache. This is my gouache era. I don't know how I feel about that, but yeah, I still didn't know how to use it properly. And then this was a gouache portrait. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, just one more. Okay, so this is 2017-2018 as well, and obviously it says pastel. So by this time, I got really curious about soft pastels, and I, of course, wanted to try them out. So I bought a bunch of sketch pads. Although I only made 3 soft pastel drawings or paintings, I guess. I only made 1 on these pastel cards. These are expensive, and I kind of really was hesitant on using it, so I only made 1. Although these are wonderful paper, by the way. And let's see. voila. It's that hand is way too big, of course, but yeah, I kind of like how she turned out, kind of, but the paper was very gritty and almost like very fine grit sandpaper. Basically, it's like you're drawing on sandpaper, which ate up the soft pastels so fast, but it made for an excellent blending. That's one. And then the other two, I tried cheaper paper from Canson. This is, let's see, oh, here we go. I still like this too because I like the sketch pad rather because it has this protective glassine paper so it won't smudge. This was a copy of a James Jean drawing, I think, or painting. And the other one, this wasn't very successful. I didn't even finish this one. And that's it. I think I only made two. As much as I love the idea of using soft pastels, I really hate how they're so dusty. You know, I should give like maybe oil pastels a try instead. Let's move that aside. And then let's go to the sketchbooks. So this next sketchbook is actually, the cover is homemade. Like I made the covers, the cover for this one. This is Khadi paper on the inside. It's made from a random leather piece that I found, and then I used old bag buckles. Like I ripped them out and then I sewed them in place to form as locks for the sketchbook. This is basically just a cover. It's not attached or anything. I was into leather work for a time. Like I would make journals and stuff. So let's move that out of the way. This is a Khadi sketchbook. I also really love this, but again, they're difficult to find and they're expensive. So this isn't finished too, but you know, I have a few drawings on here. Very weird drawings, more illustrative. So this was a take on the Monkey King. I love the color of the tangerines. And then more of these. Sorry, I'm gonna have to keep turning this around. Random like swatches. Watercolor. This one I really like. Well, this one rather. I like her expression. It's detangling her hair. This is weird. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it. Okay. This is actually a Pentalic. I don't know if you can see it. It's quite dingy. This is a Pentalic notebook. I really like this one, but I cannot find it anymore locally. So I bought one to test it out and I ended up just scribbling on it. This was in 2018. So I didn't finish. I think I skipped a few pages, but I did make it to the last page, I think. Yeah, I'll just go through this quickly. These are all ink drawings using fine liners. No rabbits died in the making of this drawing. I think I was trying to do a daily sketching habit and at the same time like journal, so I would like add little notes. This was actually quite fun. I should do this again. And socks. And here, some of it were hits, some of it were misses. And I love this book. airport coffee. Got too early at the airport. I realized my flight is until 1 p.m. and it's only 10 a.m. Poke the box. Apple pencil. I think this is the first time I got one. Best thing since sliced bread. Maxwell House coffee, the oldest thing we have in our fridge. And let's hurry. Let's go. I like this book too. And what else? I think I just stopped like journaling and just drew stuff. This was a really good book. Hong Kong octopus card. And I think I skipped a few months. I had the intention of drawing on these pages because I think I was traveling. And then, let's see. Some brushes. Here. Belgian waffle. And that's it. I don't even know what this last thing was. I really have no clue what this was supposed to be. Anyway, so yeah. I should do this again. This was a lot of fun to do. I remember being very proud after finishing this sketchbook. So yeah, I might try that again. All right, so we're finally at the 2020s era, and I don't know a lot of my artworks from 2019. It's somewhere. They're probably in my folio, so a lot of them are jumbled. So, but this is from my 2020 Inktober series. I remember participating in Inktober during this time. This was from a prompt by Tracal brushes, and so I wanted to go ahead and give it a shot. So you can probably recognize a few of these, like as pop culture stories or movies. Obviously, this is from Taxi Driver, Fight Club. I don't know what this is from. Maple Syrup? Super Troopers? I don't know. I don't know. This one, Standard Diving Suit, Pineapple Express. I have no clue. This is not part of Inktober. This is not part of Inktober. I think there's just a draw this in your style thing. This is Fizz Gig from Dark Crystal. This, I forgot, Step Brothers, the movie. I think this was Will Ferrell. Clockwork Orange. Can you guess what this one is? Nope. It says The Ring, the VHS tape in Sudoku. Obviously, Hannibal. How about this one? No? Rocky Horror Picture Show, right? Lips. This was from One-Eyed Willie from Goonies. And then Beetlejuice, I think. This one's from The Big Lebowski. Napoleon Dynamite, Ms. Liger. This one I really actually like. Can you tell? You can tell from the sunglasses, right? And the hat, the bucket hat. This Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. It's a Little Shop of Horrors. Army of Darkness. This one, I don't know what this is. The Boondock Saints. The Cross. Right. Bill and Ted. This one's Labyrinth. Oh, the Worm. This is the Lost Boys. I still have some of the footage for when I made these. Like some of these. I'll try and look for it and upload it as shorts. Danzig from Misfits. Never Ending Story. Falcor. Let me see. Oh, it's there. I never did the lettering because I was so scared that I was going to mess it up, so I just left it out. I really like this one. Milkshake. The $5 milkshake from Pulp Fiction. Of course, Ziggy. The Breakfast Club. I thought this was really neat. The Brains, the Jock, the Weirdo. I don't know what the bowl is for. Dazed and Confused. Matthew McConaughey. Evil Dead. And yeah. Although he's quite controversial now. He's deemed schooled before. And then finally, Donnie Darko. So yeah, those were my Inktober pieces for 2020. I actually really like this one. Okay, and let's move on to... Okay, so this is one, if not the last, few pieces. This is going to be a mix from 2016 to up to now because I organized most of them in the folio and I really didn't want to take it out. So I'm just gonna flip through it and let you see. And I'll point out some of the old stuff as well as some of the newer stuff. I think you'll recognize some of the newer stuff. Anyway, so yeah, this is an Itoya Art Pro Folio. I really like it. It's very sturdy and it's great for just keeping your artworks, like especially if you tend to draw or paint in loose sheets rather, then you know this is perfect. So yeah, this is in watercolor. This is an older piece. Watercolor as well. Watercolor and inks. I really like this one. This is my Mononoke watercolor piece. Colored pencil. I don't know if there's glare. Okay, there's no glare. And this was for a shirt design. And then obviously I've shown this one before. This is another ink drawing. Another ink drawing. Another piece. This is in graphite. This is supposed to be Fubuki from One Punch Man. I also really like this one. This was in fine liners. And I've shown this before in my previous video, and this is the alcohol markers, inks, some of the manga studies. This is in pastel, and yeah, this is actually in pastel. Flower studies, watercolor, some pictures of my friends that I took. This is also a photo that I took. One in Japan, the Tokyo Sky Tree. This is a gouache piece. Let me see. Okay, there. Gouache piece I've made recently, the black and white version. And then more manga studies. This is in poster color. landscapes. I'm not really good at landscapes, although I would like to get better at it. And this is another drawing. More drawings. This is the one I was talking about. This is the, I really like this one. And this, I think this is the last one. And that's it. Okay, so I found my biggest folio. This is an A2 side. I still have a few pieces on here. A few older pieces, nothing new. This was in watercolors. Also in watercolors. Inks, Kitty Cat, Chris from Blade Runner, Rachel, Descartes, although I don't really like how that turned out. And then this last one, it's not finished. This is very old. So, and my final piece is this one. This is also extremely old, but I still really dig it. This is a watercolor painting I made way back. I still need to get this framed though. So yeah, it's the last one. So anyway, thank you so much for joining me on this old artworks and sketchbook tour. I really enjoyed showing some of my old artworks, and you know, I hope to create some more and just improve on my work. Thanks again. Bye. Okay, scratch that. I still have like these two that I wanted to show. Actually, these are all, this is like a compilation book of some of the drawings that I just showed you guys. I printed these out for myself, like a personal folio that I wanted to have as a reference for all my old artworks. Some of these contain my digital works, and some of these are just all like, you know, random drawings. Anyway, I'll give you a quick flip through, although most of it you've probably already seen, like the ones I showed you, the original. So let's start with this one. This is black and white. Let's just do a quick flip through. So most of these will be familiar because I just showed them to you. Oops. This one you haven't seen, I think. This is in my other sketchbook that I haven't finished yet, so. I always love physical books, and I love the idea of hopefully, you know, having enough artworks to create a physical book like this again, and have it up for sale if anybody's interested. But I need to create more, basically more artworks, and you know, have something a little bit more coherent and consistent in terms of style, I think. And this one, I think that's it. Let's do this one real quick. This is a digital piece that I created. So you have Rachel and Chris. This is digital. This is digital as well as this one. You saw this. There's Edgar Allan Poe. This one's actually like my OC. I hate how this doesn't lay flat, but yeah, this is my OC. His name's Grima. And you've seen these. Her. And sun. think that's it, folks. Yeah, that's it. And it's done. That's it for the sketchbook and old artwork store. So I hope you guys enjoyed it, and let me know what you think in the comments below. Thank you so much. Bye.